Freedom is defined as the state of being free, or at liberty, rather than in confinement or under restraint. The power to determine one's actions without restraint or interference. Every man and woman wants to be free. We have fought wars over the concept of freedom. Our troops right now have been falsely led to believe they defend it in our current global conflicts of empire. Many believe they are created by a perfect deity that always allows free will, despite the bad choices of his or her creations. Yet without fail, people eventually always move against each other to deny the other of that same freedom. Why? Because personally or collectively they do not agree with the particular personal choices of the other, despite it being their right to do so. Righteousness is a common moral concept in human society. It is an attribute that implies that a person's actions are justified, and have the connotation that a person may judge others because his or her life, they themselves believe, is pleasing to God or society in general. And so it is the concept of righteousness or moral superiority that has become the most destructive and inescapable enemy to personal liberty around the globe in history. In our modern society, we have institutionalized moral superiority. Our collective voices have become as the sounds that cheered as Jesus himself was viciously tortured and slain. Our applause has become like the applause of the Romans, while Christians were thrown to the lions, and our complicit silence like the silence of those that looked away during the imprisonment and extermination of human beings by the Nazis. Times may have changed, but people have not. These are the same voices of moral superiority that now cheer as we bomb the innocent in foreign lands, torture the captured, and overthrow governments in the face of actionable immorality. This is the silence we hear while Americans are searched without probable cause, spied on without justification or permission, look away while people are arrested and imprisoned for making choices that do not agree with what we are told is acceptable, while men and women wearing robes in federal buildings of so-called justice assure us it is all quite legal. I hear often from the collective that people can never be completely free because people are incapable of governing themselves, and yet, unbelievably, they vote for other people to govern them. Look around you. So how is your society doing with all of these morally superior and qualified leaders governing you? Another fallacy is that government must have the power over us because we must regulate human behavior for society's own good. How is it that a perfect God allows free will, but a perfect government cannot? How is it we believe absolute power corrupts absolutely, yet we bestow the laurel leaves of power over us and believe that the positions won't be abused? How is it that our leaders have convinced us our collective security comes from disarming those who would protect themselves for the reality of being protected by those who may brutalize them if they do not obey? How is it we feel justified by robbing individuals from the gift of learning from their own mistakes? How is it we feel we should kidnap and imprison individuals who have done nothing to others except disagree in order to, quote, protect society? Why should anyone be forced to finance something they choose not to? Why should the fair exchange between two consenting adults of any item or service be prohibited? We have gone from a nation of free people, where the government had to ask permission to do everything, to a nation where the people must now seek permission for everything, and our government is free to act with impunity. How will we build the roads if taxation is not forced, they ask. The majority of the people would rather force us to build roads, and when we are full of roads, force us to pay to solve the problems of pollution caused by the consequence of those roads. The sad reality is that despite giving it power over us for altruistic reasons, today's government is not run by the people or for the people at all. As always happens with collectivist systems, once power is bestowed, it is abused. Regardless of what delusions exist, your leaders only care about making promises and giving you things to keep you quiet and stay in power at any cost. Sadly, our government is run by a collection of sociopaths who are attracted to the power of the positions they seek and believe they are morally superior to the rest of us, and make rules that only benefit themselves and solidify their control. Congratulations, America. You now have a nation that can imprison you without charge or trial indefinitely. You voted for the man who eagerly passed it, albeit not without the help of complicit others, even though he promised he wouldn't. What is more unsettling is that a great many people do not even know this at all. Perceptions are more valuable than truth to a government that lies. Why would the media not tell us what we needed to know? That is a good question, my friends. You also were told you only had one other choice, because we are a two-party system, and voting for someone that you believed in would only ensure the victory of the greater of two evils. Should it even matter if you voted or not? If you lived in a nation that honored individual freedom, your freedom? You may even believe that the government only looks out for your interests. They would never approve harmful genetically modified organisms, additives to foods or vaccines for the price of the highest bidder, would they? You were told that your election results were extremely close, 50-50 every year. As Stalin said, it is not important who votes. What is important is who counts the votes. A people divided are too busy blaming the other side to realize who their real enemy is. Our government would not alter the election results, would they? It is my sincere belief that greed and the lust for power and the collusion of corrupt corporations, banks, politicians are leading us to a terrible place in history that we quickly approach, and that they are keeping society in the dark, like passengers in a windowless vehicle. It is a frightening thing to crystallize a warning that brings with it the possible outbreak of mass starvation as the corrupt system implodes all around us, and chaotic warfare shatters the peace we have become accustomed to into words. But there it is. So that the mind is forced to confront amazingly painful scenarios that approach from all sides. It is much easier to avert one's eyes and mind from the ugliness with political delusions of recovery and hope, when even the science of mathematics says otherwise. However, the need to be aware of where we are in history right now and to question what our government is doing and saying could not be more important than today. Most of us truly wish we could turn back the calendar to Norman Rockwell's America, but we cannot, for that America is long gone from our sight, if not from our memories. When the dollar has been devalued to the point where regular people like you and I can no longer buy what we need to survive, We will need to be prepared and ready to rebuild a society that truly serves us without ruling us. Yet how can we rebuild it if we have lacked the wisdom and vision to avoid what in hindsight will be plainly obvious? Will we have been bestowed with the gift of learning from our mistakes, or squander it on another collectivist social system and centralized authority that promises utopia but delivers us to evil, hell-bent on the elimination of personal liberty and plunge humanity into a new dark age? As history has shown us, dark ages can last for centuries, after sinking civilizations in a vicious downward vortex. When the music's over, turn out the lights. And sometimes the lights stay out for a very long time. Sometimes civilization itself is lost until the flames of liberty return to light the fire of a more worthy future generation. Be prepared. We will be witnesses of history.
So when the music's over, when the music's over, yeah. When the music's over, turn out the lights, turn out the lights, turn out the lights. While the music is your special friend, dance on fire is it intense. Easy is your only friend. Till the end, until the end, until the end.